Hi folks, and welcome to another All About Photography blog. I'm here with Jay and Jesse. How are you, gents?
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, it's been a wet week of photography here on the Sunshine Coast, folks, but we've got out and we've done our best.
Yes.
I think I'll start. We had our Darkscapes workshop, which ran just last Thursday.
Yeah.
And gosh, we struggled a little bit. You know, some of the techniques that we practice in that Darkscapes, it's, you know, long exposure techniques. We focus on getting reflections off water. So, you know, it really put all of those techniques to the ultimate test. Yeah, it really did. But, you know, what I enjoy about getting out and doing some of the things when, you know, probably the ideal conditions just aren't there, was you get magic happen, you know. And one of those things that happened this time around is Graham Rosen, one of our All About Photography community friends. He came along with us, and I'll just pop that image up for you to have a quick look at. That's actually our light painting part of the evening.
Yeah.
Now, traditionally, that part of the night is where we simply just have, you know, 100% everything nice and still. We hope for there not to be a breath of wind. And of course, this was completely the opposite. This was blowing an absolute gale. But what we've got, the happy accident, is it just looks like a watercolour, like a painting.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The movement in those trees. You know, if you're an artist and you wanted to show a little bit of, you know, moodiness in such a scene, I couldn't have thought you could do a better job. So, you know, great work, Graham. That's one of the shots that was a completely unexpected shot to get from that night. But it does go to show you that absolute magic can happen.
Yeah.
So how did you hide out of the weather this week, Jay?
Oh, well, yeah, I just, I was planning to get out and do a few things, like with the drone and so forth, but too wet, too windy, so stayed at home. I got in my garage. I have a little studio set up in the front of my garage where I do all my macro work and just play around with lights and things, so I thought I'd get my model cars out. I've got a big collection of 18-scale model cars.
Yeah, that's right.
And set them up with some lights and do a bit of light painting with a torch on. I'm just trying to replicate what I do with a full-scale car for photographing them, and just step it down to a scale model and try and get the same result. And I think I did all right. I did quite a few like low-key shots, trying to keep them in nice shadows and just trying to accentuate the shapes of the cars and so forth. So I think it worked pretty well.
I think it worked exceptionally well. To be honest, when I was sort of flicking through my feed on Facebook and it came up, I thought you must have been at some sort of car event or you'd gone to a special, because they were absolutely brilliant. But I guess that's really just understanding light, isn't it? You know, like and the way that you've used the light in that situation. And if you didn't tell me, I know they're very high detailed scale models that you're doing, but you know, I would have been fooled. There's no way I would have been able to tell the difference. It was that good. Now, if you want to have a look at those, folks, that's on your photogenics page.
Oh but I'll put some up on here.
We'll put some up here as well. Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting experiment, and I think, as I always do, whenever I'm bored at home and it's raining, I like trying all different ways to light things and capture different things. So it's all about learning different techniques, and that was something else I tried over the weekend.
There's nothing better than that feeling of experimenting and just having that ability to kind of do whatever you want. Like I've done that. I was actually just looking through some photos in my archive since moving into the house. So I'm currently in the trees.
Oh, right.
And so there's an endless source of inspiration there. You know, if the weather's wet, there's a bit of fog and mist seeping through, or like just, you know, trying to focus on the water droplets.
Yeah, sure.
Or if it's really dry, you know, just experimenting with different light exposures, you know, in the trees, and, you know, I'm yet to try and do one of those kind of low light pictures where you see all the movement of the trees, and it's kind of this abstract nature.
Kind of like Graham.
Just
Rose's
like
photo.
give it a go, mate. Magic can happen.
Maybe we can show that on our future vlog at some point.
And how many times do you hear people say, you know, once you're into photography, it's not till you start to break the rules that magic happens.
That's
Well,
right.
painting with light, you know, generally speaking, it's no wind. You want it as calm as possible. Break the rules. Look what happens. It was magic. It was absolutely terrific. So what about you, Jesse? Did you stay nice and dry? And
I did, I was at a festival down in northern New South Wales over the weekend, so I took a few pictures at that. But
did you dodge the rain? Was it raining?
I did dodge the rain a bit there. Thankfully, it was very nice weather there, so that was wonderful. But I was also the day after our last vlog last Wednesday, I was out in the afternoon at Cotton Tree as well, funnily enough, and managed to capture a wonderful sunset, and that was just really nice. I always love the reflections. You can get right down to the waterfront and kind of have the camera there right above the water.
Yeah,
just
good
really
spot.
capture those, you know, deep reflections, especially when there's lots of cloud in the sky. You can often get the contrast of that in the water itself. So yeah, I didn't get out as much as I'd like to, but it's nice to get out to Coventry. It's a really good spot for me to kind of feel at peace and, you know, have my camera and capture what's going on and looking for someone to be in the frame kind of thing. So it's a good spot for me.
And did you take your camera on this occasion, or did you
Just
go with your phone?
Just
your phone? Good. Yeah, persevere. That's right. Yeah, great. Well, we'll put that image up as well, so we can have a look at that as well. Yeah, terrific. Alrighty. Now, Jesse, you've got your social media workshop coming up in
that's right.
a little less than a week's time.
It'll be a few days after we publish this video, actually. So
terrific.
That's coming up very soon. I'm both excited and slightly
yeah?
anxious, but I know it's going to be a good challenge for me. It's a whole new thing for me, and I'm also doing my yoga teacher training, so things are kind of moving in the right direction, I think, in the sense of who I'm going to become.
That's great, mate.
It's good to have that feeling of, you know, taking a new step with my photography.
Great.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, can you tell me just a little bit more about, you know, what you can expect if people come along to this social media night? Look, I'm looking forward to it, and I know that we sit down and we exchange ideas all the time, but I think coming to a workshop where it can be nice and structured, you know, I'm really looking forward to it too. So what can we expect?
So I'll be talking about creating a presence on social media. So basically, the process is involved getting started. So basically, you know, as simply as, you know, choosing what medium you want to use. The big focus I'm going to be talking about is actually establishing your voice, like figuring out what it is that you love, what you're deeply passionate about, and working with that, either going off that and creating a page that reflects that, or, you know, if you have a specific idea in mind, you know, taking that and putting that into place, whether it's, you know, creating a whole separate business where your name's not totally linked to it, but obviously you're the owner of the business. So basically just establishing yourself online, creating a presence, building an audience, and going through the steps to kind of get started and reach that point where you can then be working with brands and traveling or whatever it is you want to be doing.
Sure. So I guess, folks, even if you don't have a social media presence at the moment, if you're not on social media, or in fact, if you do, this is the opportunity for you to start to see how you can now separate your artistic work from your own personal page. And I guess that's what you've done, Jesse, with the Wild Traveller.
Yes.
Now, that Wild Traveller page of Jesse's is just shy of 50,000 followers and going up. But that 50,000 followers, that's opened your doors to some great collaborations, hasn't it?
It has, yes.
You know, even the collaboration with us evolved from that.
Yeah.
Getting that social media presence right, folks, and getting your work in front of the right people, it's endless what opportunities just might open up for you when you've got your work in front of the right people. That's
and
the
we'll
truth
also
of it.
be talking a lot about, you know, if there's a bit of an anxiety or fear about creating an online presence, we're gonna kind of push that out of the way and kind of get you confident and feeling secure that you have all that control on these platforms. I mean, you know, there are certain things where you might lose a bit of control, but you know, that's something you've just got to be prepared for. And there's so many advantages to being online, you know, and that's, I think, more than anything else, the really invaluable thing to take away from any of this, and especially from my workshop, is that there is a social media platform that will work for you. So
they're the right way to tell you.
Don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, that's right. And I think too, and this was something I guess that I suffer from. You know, I don't put stuff on social media because I think that I'm a perfectionist. But really, I'm a procrastinator. I think at the end of the day, I'm trying to get things too perfect. I'm better off just getting it out. I'm better off getting it out in front of those right people and making it happen.
And that's,
make it start.
That's the thing that I'll also be addressing is, you know, finding a routine that works for you so that you can be posting and you don't get lost in your mind thinking, oh, am I doing this right or am I not doing it right? Because, you know, a lot of people have that, you know, that they're too insecure to put something out there for everyone to see, or in your case, they're so set on getting everything exactly right that they're hesitant in that sense. So
and then the moment passes, and then all of a sudden it doesn't have the impotence that it would have had, you know, 2 weeks ago had I've done it. So they're the things that I'm really looking forward to getting some sort of structure into the way that I post on my social media, a routine, and keeping it real, keeping it something that I know that I can keep that and up and maintain. I think that's what things that I'll take away from this, for sure. So a great collaboration is happening down at Snapper Rocks. Tell us more about that.
So I think we mentioned in an earlier vlog, we can go into a lot more detail now. I, in my community page in Queensland, QLD folk, am doing a co-hosted meetup with Ozshot Mag. So that's happening in Snapper Rocks on the Gold Coast, and it's Sunday the 28th of May, so right at the end of this month. And
Save the date.
yeah, save the date. We're expecting quite a big crowd. We've already had a great response. The event's available on Facebook. We can put the link below for you. And we're all going to be there. We're going to be doing a shoot into sunset, and then after the sun's gone down below the horizon, we'll do a bit of light painting and long exposure. So, you know, if you've wanted to get out for a sunset, you want to do some experimenting with night photography, come along. And that area is so beautiful on the coast. You can look back towards the city. You've got that skyline, that kind of dystopian looking skyline, and there's so much, you know, opportunity to shoot amazing photographs around there. So,
So make sure you come along, folks. Meet the guys from Ozshot. We'll all be there. Come and say hello to Jesse, and that's on the 28th. And time?
Starting at 3 p.m.
Okay, and there'll be in the links of this video in the description. We'll put the links to the event and how you can get involved.
Yeah, don't forget we're all about photography, giving away some prizes.
That's right. Yeah,
the event.
Sponsoring the event. Yeah, for sure.
Some
that'll be a lot of fun.
And maybe some gift vouchers and things.
Gift vouchers as well. Sure. So yeah, even if you've got to travel a little ways to get there, I think it's going to certainly be worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a great time to meet certain other photographers from
look, that's what it's all
you
about.
wouldn't normally come across.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, photography is one of those type of hobbies where, you know, like-minded people, they're creative. You know, it's a great bunch of people to mix with. Yeah. All right. So what else, Jay? We got anything on your side? We're going to talk a little bit about your drone. I noticed DJI have brought out the goggles. There's been a lot of talk about that, and quite some time for them to come out.
I think they've just become available overseas. So hit Australian shores soon. I imagine in the next month. I have done a bit of research. They're hitting the streets at about coming up to nearly $800. So it's a decent investment. But I think it'd be worth having a go with them.
Well, particularly being DJI, I don't think I've seen anything come out of DJI that's not quality. So I think we can expect good things. Yeah. And I tell you what, you know, they've sold enough of that Mavic, you know, and Phantom where you've got to watch your phone to actually watch that vision. So there's going to be a lot of people which are going to rush in to get those goggles. Don't forget though, those goggles are not designed for the pilot of the drone. They're designed for a spotter or an observer. Well, actually, that was something I wasn't aware of. Jake, would you like to explain that?
Well, the rules in Australia, and I think it's pretty much the same worldwide, is that when you're flying a drone, the pilot itself has to keep the drone in line of sight. And you can't fly them through goggles because you're not looking directly at the drone. So the goggles can be used as a second person observing what you're doing, but they can also, with the goggles, they interact with your drone and the controls, so the person with the goggles can control the gimbal camera while the pilot itself is flying the drone. So the person wearing the goggles can actually just turn their head, which is in turn turning the camera to whichever direction they want to look at within the limits of its rotation and so forth. So could be an interesting way to get some different perspectives of things, basically.
Well, it's something that you and I will definitely use. We're using that Mavic as a sky-borne tripod, as an aerial camera, if you like. And to actually have one person concentrating on keeping the position and where you need to be for the shot, and the other person running the camera. Look, it's something that I think would do very well for DJI. Absolutely.
And they've been designed for the Mavic itself. All the functions that you can do with the goggles and the controls are all work with the Mavic. When you hook it up to like a Phantom 4 or an Inspire 2 or something like that, there are some functions that won't work. Like for example, the fixed wing mode, which is a new mode with the DJI Go app. That's where it flies like a model plane, basically. The camera is locked in, locked in on the horizon. You fly the drone, which stays fairly level, but when you turn the drone to the right in a model plane, it would bank like that, so the actual camera turns down and banks, and the horizon tilts and goes up and down as you fly the drone. So it's like you're flying a plane with a camera mounted on the front of it. So
terrific.
That works with the Mavic, but doesn't work with Phantom 4 or Inspire. There's some of the other modes, some of the active track modes and things will work I've got to check the list, but they'll work with Phantom 4 and I think the Inspire 2, but the Inspire 1 they don't work, and I think Phantom 3 they don't work either. So, but it's really been designed for the Maverick.
For the Maverick.
Yeah, ideally.
Yeah.
You can use them
on
on other drones. It has a USB port, so you can plug it into any drone. The output on a controller or whatever, them up wired, and you'll get the vision. So they will work on any drone, but they're designed to work with the Maverick and all the functions, the tracking modes, and so it'll be an interesting thing to see what they're like. They're designed too for people with glasses. They've got little notches in, and they fit over the top of glasses. Contact lens glasses all worked. The only adjustment, there's no diopter adjustment on the goggles themselves. The two screens, there's an adjustment in and out to fit, design so your eyes can be centered on the screen, gives you that, full vision basically, because there's two screens. And there's no gap in between if you line them up correctly. It all blends into one.
Yeah. I have had a go at some other goggles on the market, the Fat Shark, and I guess my eyes are just outside the diopters that you can actually place in without especially ordering them. I'd be very keen to see how that works for me, because some of the ones that are on the market at the moment just haven't got that adjustment that really suit my eyes.
Yeah,
terrific.
Yeah, so it'd be good.
All right, folks. Hey, listen, we've got a weekend that's just opened up to us Saturday morning. We'd like to take the drone out. You're going to take your film camera and your phone. I'm going to take a camera and a tripod. Let's ask our viewers, what is it that they'd like to see? An aerial perspective, the film based, and also a digital camera perspective of? Let's give them a choice of three. We could go to a waterfall, we could do a sunrise, or a sunset. So folks, if you'd like to leave that in the comments below, whatever we get the most hits on there, we'll attempt to get out and give you 3 different looks from 3 different capture devices. Folks, if you've watched this video all the way through, if you've got this far and you're enjoying what you're seeing, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Come and have a look and visit us on our Facebook page. And don't forget Jesse's Queensland Folk. All right, folks, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next week with some drone, some photo, and some phone pictures. Thanks. Bye.